Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. The LBMA is running out of silver. Their silver holdings continue to plunge. Let's explore. What you're looking at here is a contract size silver bar. This one is just under 1,000 ounces, and this one here, from a few years earlier, is just over 1,000 ounces. The weights do vary for these contract size bars. Nonetheless, it is fascinating to see these approximately 72-pound bars continue to run out in the London vaults. And let's take a look. The data have just been released for July for the London Vault holdings data, and we look and see what gold has been relatively constant throughout this time and their holdings. But look at silver. It's been in a steady decline for several months here, but July's numbers have come in really low compared to the previous month there. Fascinating to see 997,405,000 troy ounces, what they showed there. And then here we have down to 950 million ounces. I think I'm reading that correctly. Yes, the troy ounces with the zeros. In other words, you add a couple of zeros after that, but there it is. And so just not that long ago, it was well up into 1.8 million. So interesting to see. If we scroll back through and look at the flow and how it shifted over the years, we can see that there was a time where it was down lower. We can see in November of 2020, for instance, they were quite lower, but still above that 1 million level. And then we scroll back. We haven't seen it this low since 2016, in July of that year, where both gold and silver were down that year. And by the way, I believe in July 2016, or somewhere in 2016, we saw silver rally. So this could be the precipice of a rally that we're seeing, and because this is just above where it is now. And so what is that telling us? I don't know. And the dramatic drop, very interesting to see how this is occurring. But let's get a hint on what's going on here. There's an article here from Capital.com that was published just before this report came out. And I talked about this in a previous video too, because it was a little bit alarming to see it occur last month. But now this month's data for July had just come out, and it's a little bit startling, to say the least. I really don't know how to explain it. And we did see silver kind of turn around in the last week, rising over 4% and trading approximately just above $20.30 per ounce. Silver usually tracks gold's footsteps. Currently, it is seeing far more gains than gold, which is up only about 2.3% this week. And by the way, when I did a video about that, some people are thinking, there's no way it's outperforming gold. But you got to think about it in percentage. In other words, it moves per day. People mistakenly think that I was saying that its price is above gold. They're not, and I explained in that video, but some people I guess didn't understand what I was saying there. It's largely driven by falling silver inventories, such as what we're seeing at the LBMA, as well as the fact that even when increasing, silver is still far cheaper than gold. Hence the recessionary fears looming and investors rushing towards safe haven assets, and silver becomes a more affordable choice. So the London Bullion Market Association's silver vault stocks have fallen to a 6-year low. June at about 997 million troy ounces of silver, a sharp 15.5% fall from last June, when inventories were about 1.18 billion troy ounces. And now we're in July, and it's down to 950 million troy ounces. This has been the result of a steady decline over the past 7 months or so, with silver inventories having dropped about 14.8% since November 2021, but has gone mostly unnoticed, with most investor attention being focused on gold so far. With this decline in stocks, silver prices have consequently shot up. And why are people focusing on gold? Well, for a good reason. It is the ultimate safe haven, I believe. It is a much more stable store of value, and I think that's why there's the focus. I know that's one of the reasons why I have been focusing more on gold over the past 5 years or so. But it does not mean I'm against silver. But this news means that some of the silver purchases I made this year, I feel pretty good about, seeing where things could possibly go if this interpretation is correct, and if my fears are founded. But we'll see. I'm still a little skeptical for many reasons, experience being one of the main ones, as to not get my hopes up too much about silver, but nonetheless. So the issue that most of the silver held in the LBMA vaults are by silver ETFs, such as the iShares Trust SLV and Wisdom Tree Physical Silver, with the actual amount of physical silver was only about 11,601 tons, only about 37% of the total vault amount. So that's part of the issue there. Out of this, a large proportion is held by family offices, high net worth individuals, and investment institutions, which further reduces the amount of actual silver available for sale. This leads to silver squeezes, such as the one in February 2021, when ETFs accounted for about 85% of the total silver stored in LBMA vaults. And I'm telling you, with a similar situation unfolding at the moment as well, silver prices are soaring as investors and manufacturers alike are worrying about not being able to get their hands on adequate supplies. And tightening of monetary policy by the Federal Reserve, as well as increased recessionary fears and slowing economic growth, have also driven more safe haven demand into silver, which in turn have pushed prices up. And now, for those of you who know my history of this channel over the past year or so, when the silver squeeze movement came on, I was all about the new buyers coming in to purchase silver. But I didn't think that was the right focus to try to break the COMEX, because we've seen that with the crash JP Morgan, which was around was about to die down just as I started this channel in 2013. That was the big craze, and we just moved out of it. It didn't work. But if there's anything to be said about where we are at now compared to where we were in February of 2021, let's take a look at where that is. Stockpiles were much higher then than they are now. In February and in January, they had increased their holdings. So they were building back up there. Now, could they do that again? Yes, but there is a lot more silver there, and they ended up having a couple of days of an effect on the price of silver, and largely because some were actually trying to take delivery of contracts from the COMEX and the like in LBMA. Now, the COMEX is the big driver here. We're looking at the LBMA number, so do some research and see what's happening over there. But this is potentially something that could lead to another more effective silver squeeze movement if we have the same information occurring in the COMEX. And I've talked a bit about that in the last video. I don't think it's quite as hurting for silver as the LBMA is. But nonetheless, what is this telling us? This is a very interesting development here, I think. And I don't know exactly how to interpret it. I don't want to really say a whole lot other than it appears to be that something is going on, and there may be, some sort of issue with the LBMA with a great demand for silver, and it's being allocated in some different ways, and they're running out of silver. I don't know how else to say it. It looks like they're running out of silver month after month. It appears to be the case. And so does this mean there's a silver shortage? I still don't think so, because we're still able to buy a whole lot of product. You and I are from major bullion dealer websites, and likely this kind of thing would probably have some effect on that. So I don't really know what's going on here. but there is some sort of stock that's dwindling at some point there. So it's very interesting to see how this is playing out. So we also have situation with the mining giants. Fresnillo, you've heard me talk about them recently. They have considerable interest in silver, have seen prices rise by over 15% in the last few days. This is also supported by the company production still being in line with forecast, with its quarterly production increasing as well. But there was a decrease that we saw by other reports. So that's kind of an interesting turnaround for Fresnillo. And it just goes to show you how things can change pretty quickly if this is true. Pan American Silver Corporation has also increased almost 14% in the past week, along with Wheaton Precious Metals, which has risen about 8.5%. Now, I don't know, that's a share prices has risen. But the production with is what is interesting to see here, that they're actually increasing in production because they had fallen in production from the last report that I had done. Rising silver prices may also convince other big miners, such as Rio Tinto, traditionally more focused on copper and gold with a relatively small silver side, to ramp up their silver operations. And I guess really that's a summation of this. Big mines like Fresnillo are kind of waiting out the lower silver prices and waiting for a turnaround, and we're starting to see it. So they're going to ramp up production to take advantage. And so that could mean more silver as they take advantage of these increases. But then on the way, adding more silver, which means you're flooding the market with new silver, which means that it could go back down to some degree again as well too. That's the push and pull I think that we are going to be seeing. Silver is approaching an important area of technical resistance in the $20.50 to $20.60 zone that encompasses the 50-day moving average, which has been trading above the metals prices for more than 3 months. And I don't know much about technical analysis, but somebody had mentioned this on a comment on one of my videos, and saying that we're getting close to that, and that so we probably are likely to see higher than lower prices. And I've been predicting lower prices in the short to medium term, but I think they'll turn around by probably August or by September, October, likely October. We'll see them go up is where I'm thinking, but I could be wrong. You never know. But nonetheless, one thing we do know is that LBMA, their stockpiles and their own website is showing a decline. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Hope you found this video interesting, insightful. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.